Great, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Rob Hale, founder and COO of Travel and Relax. And tonight I am honored to be joined with our company's CEO and tonight's moderator, Maurice Washington, my wife, Lisa, who serves as our director of celebrations, and an amazing behind the scenes staff of Max Ratkai and James Bamati, who help us in our amazing ongoing efforts to always provide top level customer service to our guests. Travel and Relax was founded 16 years ago on August 1st, 2004, with a mission to unify the world one traveler at a time. As these tours began, which was in June of 2020, as the COVID-19 challenged our world and dramatically changed how people travel, Travel and Relax considered how we could help you escape the stresses of today's world. And we felt that offering you these virtual tours around the world to some of the world's great destinations would provide you with a great escape from today's stresses, all from the comfort of your own environment. Our major tours are being held bi-monthly, with regional tours being held every other month. All of our tours allow you to dream of future travel experiences that you might enjoy. Tonight, we are very pleased to offer you our sixth tour of Anchorage, Alaska and area, which will be presented to you by our special guest, Tia Froehle with Inside Anchorage. Before Tia begins, while we do want to hear from you, to prevent the distractions of background noise, all attendees will be muted. There will be a question and answer period at the end, and if you have questions, please be sure to enter those into the chat box or raise your hand in the participants box, and our moderator will make sure that your questions get asked. And now I am very excited and pleased to introduce you to Tia Froehle.
Hi, thank you so much. And good evening to you. It's afternoon here in Alaska. I think there's a 2-hour time change between us and Colorado. So the sun is still shining. It's super bright outside my window. It's about 20 degrees, but we just got a ton of new fresh snow. So I am super excited to be talking about our snow adventure here in Alaska. So I know everyone knows Alaska for the summer season. We get it. It's beautiful here during that time as well. The cruises are here. It's a great way to come. But I'm going to try to change your mind on why it's great to come during our snow adventure months here at South Central Alaska and Anchorage. So with that, let's get started. So curious, I don't know if you can monitor the chat. I think you can. Has anyone been to Alaska in the winter time? So kind of curious on if anyone has been here for that. So a little introduction of myself. Again, my name is Tia Froehle. I am a lifelong Alaskan. And I say I have the dream job. I've been here next month. It'll be 8 years at Visit Anchorage, and because I just get to promote my hometown. So how great is that? So I love it so much that I play in it so much. So you can't keep me down. And whether it's summer or winter, I can be found out in our mountains, out on the trails, out in our glaciers. As you can see here, love to explore glaciers, especially in the wintertime. And we'll talk about that. Watch the sunsets and sunrises because we have this beautiful alpenglow here. I love to go skiing. I was just telling the crew here at Travel and Relax, I did sneak down a couple weekends ago to do some skiing there in Colorado. A huge passion of mine. But then on the trail systems that we have here, I'm out there on my fat tire bike. I have cross-country skis, I have snowshoes, you name it, we can do it, and I do it here. And then of course I love a good craft beer to end all those beautiful activities. So we don't quite have as many breweries as you guys have in Colorado, but we got a few. So I'll tell you a little secret ingredient that we have in all our beers here a little bit later. So that's who I am. And I love the team at Travel and Relax. They're great. I feel like I've become part of their team. So I know they can sell you the perfect winter adventure itinerary for when you're ready. So let's just talk real quick how big Alaska is. So again, like I mentioned, we're so big, we have our own time zone here. So it is called the Alaska Standard Time, which is 2 hours different than Mountain Time. But look how big we are. We're 1/5 the size if you put us on the lower 48. So I want to send this out to Maurice. Maurice, do you have any idea how many Colorados will fit into just one Alaska?
3.
Almost double that, 6. So 6 times, that's how big Alaska is. So it's a little fun fact for you. So, and as you can see where Anchorage is located here, that is what we're gonna kind of focus on today. So another fun fact is our population. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat again, Maurice. How many more people do you think you have in Colorado than you do here in Alaska?
Let me see here. Yeah, you're really getting me good. I'm gonna remember this, Tia.
You guys have 44 times more people per square mile than we do here in Alaska. So that's why I like to travel out a lot. I like to see more people. So we have about 700,000 people that live in and around the Anchorage area or in Alaska. And in Anchorage, in the municipality, we have about 300,000. So I keep talking about South Central, so I'm going to just show you another map real quick. It's that green area on this map. So we're so big, it's easy to talk about the 5 different regions. It's almost like 5 different states when you visit Alaska. As Rob and Lisa said when they came here before, Alaska's like Colorado a lot. We have a lot in common, but we're just kind of on steroids is how they said it. So, and I think that's a great way to put it. I think we just really love the outdoors. We love all the adventure, and we just have all this space to do it in. So if you are ready to travel, we're open, we're ready. And I think 2022 for winter here is going to be amazing. So, so be ready. So again, that's where we're going to focus on. I'm going to zoom in that map and you can see all the different adventures that you can do just from Anchorage. And this is year-round, summer or winter. So if you use Anchorage as a base camp, so you just fly in and unpack in one of our beautiful hotels, look at all the different activities that you can see and do. It's probably the biggest surprise people say is, I had no idea I could do so much just from Anchorage. And that's what we're going to talk about. But I got to now convince you that we're not so cold and dark, right? All right, let's talk about that. Okay, in December is our darkest month. But we still have 5.5 hours of daylight here. So the further north you get, the more daylight you lose. So again, on that Arctic region of Alaska, when that sun sets in November, they won't see the sun here they won't see it for 82 days. So we get it, that does exist here in Alaska, but not where Anchorage is located. So we still have 5.5 hours. And then that's around December 21st. After that date, now we're starting to gain daylight. This is like a game for us Alaskans. We watch as we gain each day how much sunlight. And the first day we see that we drive home from work and we have, that the daylight instead of darkness, we're like, oh, we're coming out of our darkness. But with that darkness, we get these beautiful northern lights. So we get a different kind of light in our wintertime, and we get an alpenglow that I'm going to tell you about. So even though we're dark, we have some other beautiful lights that we celebrate. And then of course, as we gain each month, so we're now into March, so we're going to be pushing that 13 hours of daylight here. I also want to point out our average temperatures. People think we're so cold. Average, we're usually in the 20s, like today by 20 degrees, but rarely do you see us below 0. And we're protected by 6 mountain ranges in the water, so we're a very maritime climate. Again, the further north you get, that's where you get the crazy cold weather that you expect everywhere in Alaska. I have to laugh. The other day I was watching the news and they said the coldest place in Alaska was a town called Chicken, which is a funny name for a town. And the warm spot was a place called Cold Bay. Imagine that. So a little fun. Alaskan can always keep you entertained. And so then again, we're gaining all the way up until that June timeframe. And then once you hit June, now we're in the summer and now we're getting 22 hours of daylight, and let's come up and play. I always say we're kind of like the bears. I do sleep a little bit more in the wintertime than I do in the summertime, but why not? Because it's a little darker. So here in the wintertime in Alaska, we have these beautiful natural kind of phenomenons that happen only here in Alaska. And I like this shot because if you look at our trees, that is called a hoarfrost. So it's when the temperature gets a little cold and our humidity kind of rises a little bit, we get these like ice crystals, these feathery like ice on our trees. It is absolutely amazing and gorgeous. And this is actually Visit Anchorage. This is my home office. I'm actually sitting in that window there to the left. But what Visit Anchorage does real quick, we're just here to help you get the best out of your Alaska vacation for South Central Alaska. We also, right next to this building is our log cabin. So when you come visit Alaska, you'll come to downtown Anchorage and you'll get to know our log cabin. It's our visitor information center, is the hub for all day trips, shuttle services. You can get into, our log cabin was built in 1954. You can meet some of our volunteers. You can get in there and write a postcard to your friends and brag that you're in Anchorage right now, and we'll mail that back to tell them that you're currently in Anchorage and they should be here too. So again, if you want a visitor guide, a restaurant guide, please go to anchorage.net. We'd love to put that in your hands. So then you can call your team at Travel and Relax and say, I want to do this, this, and this, and they can put that beautiful itinerary together for you. So that is what Visit Anchorage does. We're a nonprofit organization that is been in, gosh, we got started in 1975. So been around for a little while. Okay, here's that alpenglow. Here's that city of Anchorage that I live in. So you can see when it gets darker, we're okay with that because look at this beautiful hues of pinks and purples that we get. So the sunrises and sunsets here are beautiful. And then you can just see our Anchorage is right on the face of the water. That's the Cook Inlet. And then that Cook Inlet divides into two different arms. So I always say Anchorage is hugged. To the south is going to be the Turnagain Arm, and to the north is going to be the Knik Arm. So it's just so scenic. And then look at those mountains. This isn't even close to how much snow is on these mountains right now, but that's the Chugach Range. The Chugach Range goes for 700 miles. So you are in our mountains playing on all our different trails in no time. So what's so great about staying in Anchorage, the largest city here? Well, you can just tell we have all the amenities of what a big city, what you want out of a big city, such as a variety of different hotels, amazing restaurants. I think that's another thing. People are surprised at how diverse our choice for cuisine is. So we have anywhere from, of course, all that fresh seafood, but we have Korean food, we have Mexican food, we have German food. We actually have 3 of the most diverse high schools in the US. They speak over 100 different languages. So again, we got that culture here. So we're very diverse in that way that people are surprised. And then having that city but surrounded by wilderness, in 5 minutes, you're out on a trail and you're looking for that wildlife too. So we actually have had moose, walk right in downtown Anchorage before. So not uncommon. We also have these beautiful lakes and lagoons in and around the Anchorage area. So this is Westchester Lagoon, about 3 miles from downtown Anchorage. And this is a huge skating area for not only locals, but for visitors. So if you want to rent some ice skates and come meet some local Alaskans, this is a very, very popular place to do that. And if you are here on a weekend, there's always some type of fun activity. There's either a radio station doing a promotion, or there's burn barrels down there and they have little races. There's just always something happening on this beautiful lagoon. What's kind of a cool fact about Alaska, did you guys know that we have 3 million lakes here? Yep, 3 million lakes. So we have a lot of lakes to come play on. Also, I want to mention about that dining. Look, I know you guys all think we live in igloos, which we don't, but we can dine in them. So with COVID, it's kind of cool that we've developed these great little dining bubbles. So we have a ton of these igloos at a couple of our different restaurants around town, and they're going to stay in the summer, but how cool is this to dine in an igloo in the wintertime? I've done it. It's super cool and must try. So it's just, again, our city has really done a great job of adapting to what is needed for the COVID and the pandemic, and to be able to stay open. And I have to mention those breweries that we have here. So we have about 13 now. I heard we just got a permit for a 14th, which I know does not compare anywhere to 300, I think you guys have in Colorado. But what's unique, I told you we have a secret ingredient in all our beer. So not only is our beer have this ingredient, but our tap water has it. It is all filtered through a glacier. So Eklutna Glacier is our tap water, and that tap water is used in our beer. So you can say you're drinking a little bit of glacier water in every glass of water or beer that you have here. So real quick, I should cover COVID, COVID conscious and what we've done to adapt. So Alaska was one of the first places that said, hey, come visit us. Land is open. We have all this land to explore. You can get outdoors, no problem. We do ask that you have a PCR COVID test 72 hours to departure. That has now been a recommendation and not a requirement. So that has changed as of February 15th. It is still nice to, and we do say, hey, it's good to know that you are negative before you come, but then also everyone is starting to get their vaccines. So we're going to see once you get your 2 vaccines, you probably don't have to have that COVID test. So we're watching that, we're mandating that, we're changing it as needed. So right now you don't have to have that test. We do ask that you fill out a travel declaration form before you get here, and then come and enjoy our state. We've been social distancing up here since 1959, and you can come and not see a soul if that's what you want to do. Go rent a cabin and never see anyone. So just wanted to throw those out there. Okay, so now let's explore some of the snow adventures that we have here. Alaska, we really need to brag about the Northern Lights, because I'm curious, on anyone been to Iceland for their Northern Lights? I've tried, and I have a coworker who said that she's been there like 7 times and has yet to see them, but they have done such an amazing job marketing. And we've just kind of rode on the tails of our summer tourism, and we thought, oh, well, people want to come here in the wintertime. Oh, we should also mention our Northern Light season goes all the way from mid-August to mid-April. So we have one of the longest seasons to see them. Plus, we're like, you stay here 3 nights, you have an 80% chance of seeing them. So toot, right, for us here in Alaska. So come dance under the Northern Lights, and you can see them right here from South Central Alaska. Look at these beautiful Northern Lights. So, I mean, basically what do we need for the Northern Lights to happen, right? We just basically need a charged solar wind to slam into that Earth's magnetic field. It forms this beautiful aurora like halo over us, and then boom, you have the lights. Last night they were dancing at 7:30 p.m. We're under a very high KP index for the next couple of nights. Tonight's supposed to be even better. So all of our tour operators know how to read the solar flare. We have this app that tells you when they're going to be out. They tell you, hey, get outside in 1 hour and you can go dance and sing, or just do whatever you want under the Northern Lights. And it's kind of like, I like this fun like physics. Basically how the Northern Lights happen is kind of like the old fashioned tube that was used in a TV. That's kind of what you need for the Northern Lights to happen here, to what produces them. But once you see them, there's something in your soul that'll just stir you up, and you're just going to be amazed by them. So what's cool about seeing the Northern Lights in South Central versus other regions of Alaska is that we're coastal. We're right on the coast. So you get the mountains. Here's the Turnagain Arm. You get the trees. Like, look how beautiful. It's a different, it's kind of on the side and above the mountains. If you're further north in interior Alaska, they're kind of closer to that Aurora oval. So it's going to be more of a shower. So it's going to feel like the Northern Lights are truly right above you, just falling on you. So it's, a different feel for those Northern Lights. But look how beautiful when you get the mountain ranges. That is the Kenai mountain range in that shot. We have, again, local tour operators that follow this. You put in the days you're going to be here, and you only pay when you play. So if you're a photography buff, wow, what a place to come catch that aurora with one of our local guides. This is Alaska Photo Treks. You can see our cityscape. He'll do a cityscape. He'll get that alpenglow, and then that is just right over Anchorage, those Northern Lights dancing. Or if you're not into photography and you just want to stay in a nice little hut and wait for those lights to come out, we have some other local tour operators that'll keep you warm and have some hot chocolate, maybe make a fire and do some s'mores, and then wait for those lights to come on. And everyone has this great picture that you'll take home from it as well. So again, they watch it, they'll trace it for you. And again, 7 nights here. And I always say for Northern Lights, you should see them in South Central Alaska and in the interior. It's different, and it's going to be glorious. Okay, so now we got to find what other adventures you want to do, because that's one, we're definitely chasing those Northern Lights. But you have to find your adventure. Some people think Alaska, that's just a little too wild for me. But we have everything from mild to wild. Whatever your adventurous soul is, we can adapt to that and make sure that happens for you. So again, our trail systems are open. We have over 135 multi-use trail systems in and around the Anchorage area. And so hiking in the summer, but you can also be out on those in the wintertime, such as fat tire biking is very popular here. And this is just one of probably the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail, which is right off of downtown Anchorage. So super easy if you wanted to rent a bike, and go. Or we have some really great guided tours. So you can go out with a guide and they can help you navigate some of our wilderness trails. We have so many different, single tracks to wide tracks to, if you want to come down a mountain on a bike, we can offer that. But that's not for everyone. But again, it's from mild to wild. And if you're really on the mild side, we actually have the e-bikes. So if you know what an e-bike does, it does pretty much like 50% of the work for you. So if you want a little bit of assistance and you're just looking for that wilderness beautiful picture, we can have that option available for you too. And of course, I have to mention again, when you're out on our trail systems, you're constantly looking for wildlife. We've had so many moose lately in this winter time. I just think we had kind of a quiet summer that they're just hanging out this winter. I've already stopped counting how many moose I've had in my driveway or my yard just this winter. So constantly looking for moose. We're looking for lynx. There's fox out there. There's rabbits. So something for everyone. Another option is you can put on those snowshoes. A lot of people have never put on snowshoes before in their life. It's a really great way to get some out on our trails, but this is on the Glen Alps Trail. So we have a great little overlook and you can see Anchorage down below, and then you can kind of see Cook Inlet there and then Mount Susitna. So just taking in that beautiful sunset that we have, getting a little exercise. You can do anywhere where you just go up on the overlook with a guide, or there's a nice blueberry loop. So you do like a mile and a half. So again, depending on your athletic ability and how far you want to trek that day, that is available. Alaska, Go Hike Alaska also has these beautiful valley and forest hikes. So again, going on a guided hike, but now you're going to go hiking for say 6 miles and you're going to go into just this beautiful Eagle River Valley that has this beautiful river. They have these frozen ice falls in it, such as Barbara Falls. So you're really just spending the day out in our valleys and forests with a guide. I know I'm going to talk a little bit about skiing here and a little bit later. It doesn't compare to some of the ski resorts you guys have there in Colorado, but we do have 3 here in Alaska. So the first one is Arctic Valley, one of our older ski resorts. And this is kind of more for that backcountry feel. So they don't rent any gear. This is maybe if you brought your own gear. Maybe you want to go on some fresh powder because it's only open on the weekends. Their main lift is by a T-bar. So again, this is a little bit more adventurous, but it's right here 10 miles outside of Anchorage, a really fun place to go. But they also have this fun for any families that are coming, this great tubing park. So it's a really fun place to go tubing and just, again, looking for wildlife up in Arctic Valley. And this valley provides year-round activities. Anyone want to come fishing in Alaska? We definitely have that year-round too. So some ice fishing. Actually, I'm going to go do this tomorrow. So I'm hoping to have my own picture up here next time. So again, I mentioned we have 3 million lakes, but we have a ton of lakes just here in Anchorage, and you can go try catching a trout. And we have those nice little warming igloos in the Eskimo huts that you can stay warm, and you drill your own hole and spend the day out on one of our lakes. And our glaciers are still open. Like I mentioned, glaciers are what you want to come and see in Alaska. We have over 100,000 glaciers here. We have more glaciers than we have stoplights. And they're open in the winter. And what's cool in the wintertime is that snow puts this like blanket of covering and insulation on them. So then when these ice caves form, you can go into these breathtaking ice caves. So this is out at Matanuska Glacier. I was actually there 2 weekends ago, and there's one cave that's called the Wormhole, and you actually work your way through this little tunnel in this cave that you climb through. It's just amazing. Or you can cross-country ski to one of our many glaciers. We have about 60 glaciers that you can go visit within a 2-hour radius of Anchorage, and this is out at Portage Glacier. And then if you want to go a little further north, Matanuska Glacier is about 2 hours north, and then about another 10-15 minutes, there's this beautiful lodge called Sheep Mountain Lodge. So a great place to rent a cabin for the night. They get stunning northern lights there. You can do snow machine tours, or here is, you can take a helicopter tour and go to Nelchina Glacier. So Nelchina Glacier is this beautiful glacier between kind of the valley of South Central, and then right over that glacier is Valdez, Alaska. So you can take this helicopter and land next to this massive ice cave. So this is actually me. I'm the middle person right there. That is an ice cave. Isn't it just, it's mind blowing how big it is. It almost looks like a wave of water, but this is ancient ice, you know, that dates back to tens, thousands of years ago. And here forms this huge cave that has now been there for 6 years. So this puts in perspective how big it is, you know, unbelievable. So again, depending on how you want to explore a glacier, those are some ways. Or maybe you want to take a boat up to a glacier. So this starts in February. This is out of Prince William Sound, which is south of Anchorage. And this is where you're going to get into a Tidewater Glacier. So you take this adventurous kind of boat and you get right up to Blackstone Glacier here. And it's, like I said, a Tidewater Glacier. What a cool way to kind of break through the ice of the sound and view this amazing, beautiful area of Whittier. Whittier kind of got its start back from World War II. So a lot of history in that town as well. In March, I should also mention the gray whales start to migrate back. So you can actually take a gray whale cruise starting about March 6th. So that just started too. And that's going to be a little bit further south. That's going to be out of Seward and in Kenai Fjords National Park. So you're crossing off a national park as well. So that just started. We're excited for that. Another way to kind of get off the grid, and we call these snow machines here. Most people call them snowmobiles, but you can take a 14-mile trek into Spencer Glacier. So Spencer Glacier, you're kind of, the only way you can get to it in the summertime is by the Alaska Railroad. So you can take this awesome, beautiful trip on a snow machine and then get into another ice caves in the, you know, around Spencer Glacier. So this is me out there. Again, I'm a local Alaskan and I am blown away by the winter ice caves that you can experience here in Alaska. I mean, look at that blue, and that's not, we didn't even touch that up. And some of these ice caves are just some of the icebergs that have calved off and now have frozen on this lake. So just amazing. I'm always amazed by glaciers. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about ski adventures. I mentioned we have 3. The other one is Hilltop. It's a kind of a smaller hill that we have here. So our big ski resort is at Alyeska Resort. This resort was built in 1994, and it's just this beautiful setting of Girdwood. So Girdwood is about 35 miles south of Anchorage. It is still part of the municipality of Anchorage, but you look how beautiful you feel like you're in the middle of Alaska when you're here. It offers every snow adventure you can imagine right in front of this resort. They don't have it plowed right now, but you can do some ice skating. There's a little pond right there, but it is a ski in and ski out hotel. So there's a tram that leaves right from this hotel that takes you right to the top of Mount Alyeska, which is about a vertical rise of 2,500. So again, what's the big difference about skiing in Alaska versus Colorado is that we start at sea level. So that is a huge difference when you compare to your 11,000, 14,000 feet mountains there. What's super cool, what we're very excited for, is they're building a Nordic Spa. It'll be open this summer of 2021. So it's going to be over 50,000 square feet of this outdoor space that has the dry saunas, the hot saunas, the different temperature pools, the fireplaces. They'll have a bistro there. They'll have exfoliation rooms, massages. So that whole Nordic spa right on the side of that beautiful resort in that jaw-dropping, forest. So super excited that they're adding that. And this is where you can see from the top of the mountain here, it's just this gorgeous scenic view. So that's the Turnagain Arm that you're seeing down below. That's the Kenai Mountains further over there, and you're just right in the Chugach. So they offer amazing downhill skiing. They have about 76 named trails here. They have anywhere from greens to blues to blacks to double blacks. It's kind of known for being steep and deep. I also mentioned at the beginning of this, we're the first resort in North America to get over 500 inches. I just looked at the ski resort or the snow report this morning, and they're at 627 inches for the year. So that's 52 feet. That's pretty impressive. So not too bad. And there's just the run for everyone. So it's a really great family resort to go to. But don't forget, if you're looking for a little bit more adventure, you want to be a little more wild, they have snowcat and heli skiing right from the resort here. They also have a fine dining restaurant on the top called Seven Glaciers, and that's called Seven Glaciers because you can actually see 7 hanging glaciers in the mountains around us. It is the most popular place to get engaged, so I don't go there very often, but if you do have a special occasion coming up, Seven Glaciers is the restaurant you want to go to. Absolutely stunning, beautiful. All right, as you know, maybe dog mushing is very popular here. It is our one professional sport that we have. That is a big difference between us and Colorado. You guys have some pretty great teams there. We have our dogs. So maybe you want to come and mush your own dog sled team. So, how fun is that just to interact with these athletes, like where you get to learn why, how they play, how they live, and how they train. And I don't know if anyone's been on a dog sled team before, but they are strong and powerful. When they say mush, they mean hold on, because I took a group once and I was adjusting my glove, I think, for once, and the guy said mush, and I went flying off the back of that sled. So you definitely have to hold on. It's very powerful. You can see here in this picture, one person stands behind it, you're the musher, and then the other person sits, and then you change spots. So it's just, I giggle the whole time. It is so much fun. And you just get these frosty noses, and the dogs are so excited. And at the end, who doesn't want to hold a puppy? Like, oh, you can't take them because they'll count them. We tried, but you just know one of these dogs that you're holding could be a future champion. That's how proud we are of them. All right, now let's walk on the wild side and talk about the animals that we have here. So I always say we share the land with the animals, and I'm always in awe of them. I think that's just, when you see them in nature, it's just breathtaking, and you want to stop. And like I said, I just had a moose in my driveway the other day. I couldn't park in my driveway. So what do? I started taking pictures of it, because why not? Because they're gorgeous. They're awesome. So here's one in the wild. We have a local tour operator called Pick Tours Alaska. So you just take your iPhone, and they have these beautiful half-day, 4-hour tours where you go look for the wildlife, you go look at glaciers, you go look for these frozen waterfalls, and you just kind of learn a little history. And just, this is on his tour right here. Like, how fantastic is that photo? We all want to take that home. But don't worry, we do have guaranteed wildlife viewing here. We have the Alaska Zoo right here in Anchorage. It's right on our hillside in this borealis setting on 25 acres. Again, this is just for injured and orphaned animals. And it's usually Arctic or subarctic animals that are here. And here's a little snippet of how beautiful like the walkways can be with all the snow. And just some of the animals that they have here. But they do have where you can do a couple encounters with animals, and you can do a zookeeper goat walk. So I put this little goat in there so you can, they say, see it from the animal's eyes, so you get a walk around the zoo with these 2 goats named Tyson and Chelsea. So why not? That'd be fun. But our Alaska Zoo is absolutely beautiful. We also, a little bit south of us, kind of over by Girdwood, is stopping at the Wildlife Conservation Center. So again, just like our Alaska Zoo, but a lot bigger. So this is over 200 acres, only for injured and orphaned animals. And you kind of see that map. It's a little small, but it kind of shows where all the animals are at. So you can walk, you can either drive your own car, or maybe you want to be a little more active. You can actually do a kick sled. So you and your family or friends can, these are free to use at the conservation center. And it's about a 1.5 miles around if you wanted to see all the different animals. So that's super fun. This is me with the group. I was doing it, and you can see the 2 moose over to the side there. They were checking us out saying, oh, you guys are coming to see us. So what a fun way to visit animals, get some exercise, and play in the beautiful snow that we have here. And again, they have interactions with animals. So it's called Walk on the Wild Side, where you're out there with one of their education directors. And this one is feeding a porcupine. So you can feed a porcupine, or you can feed a moose a branch. So it's just kind of fun to be behind the scenes with those that work with the animals every day. So. And then just north of us, we have what's called the Musk Ox Farm. So if anyone knows anything about, musk ox, they come basically from the Ice Age. Like, just think, they used to roam with saber-toothed tigers and the woolly mammoths, and they still exist. Like, how cool is that? But What is really unique about these gentle giants is what is on their bellies, their underfur. It's called kivute. And kivute is what our Alaska Natives love to use to knit hats like you see here, scarves, mittens. And some fun facts about kivute, it is 8 times warmer than wool, and it is softer than cashmere or alpaca. So it is on the expensive side, but this is one piece that if you're going to be outside playing, you want. It is so beautiful. And it is knitted by our Alaska Natives, so every piece is different. There's no 2 pieces alike. So super unique. We have a shop here in downtown Anchorage called the Umiak, because that is what the native word for a musk ox is. And you can go into that co-op and you can watch them actually knitting it and buy it from one of our local Alaska Natives. So Umiak, remember that, Maurice? That's going to be a trivia question. Okay, now let's just talk about the special events, because that's what's happening right now currently here in Alaska, is our Fur Ronde Festival. It is our premier winter festival that we have here, and it just kicked off last Friday. We had beautiful fireworks. We have snow sculptures. I was just telling the Travel and Relax team, I just played in the snowshoe softball tournament. So they have all these wacky, crazy events, such as the outhouse race. They just had that. They'll do a blanket toss. So this is very common with our Alaska Natives. So you can really learn the culture of Alaska during our Fur Ronde. So everyone stands around, and this is a blanket that's made by our Alaska Natives, and you try to toss someone as high as you can. And it's just a super cool local event that you can do. You can also go running with the reindeer. It's right in downtown Anchorage, where they release our reindeer down the street, and everyone dresses up in funny costumes and that kind of stuff. So again, just a lot of funny, wacky events that start. It's for 2 weeks. So it starts right at the end of February. We'll go into March. And then what March kicks off is our Iditarod. Like I mentioned, our one professional sport. We're here. We've made it. This is the time. It kicks off this weekend. And we have, I think it was 54 mushers this year that is in the Iditarod. So like I said, they have trained all year. They've socialized their dogs through dog mushing tours all year for this race that normally takes about 8 to 14 days to do. This is the map of it. And normally they start, they do their ceremonial start in downtown Anchorage, and then they'll restart in Willow. But just due to COVID and changes and that kind of stuff, they're doing what's called the Gold Trail Loop. And I don't know if you can kind of see it. It's the dotted red line on this map. So normally they go all the way up to Nome. And this is all based off of, if you've seen the show Balto or the movie Balto, where they got the serum, they had to get the serum up to the village back in the day, kind of what we're going through now, which is kind of odd, right? If you kind of put it in perspective, but they can't quite go up to Nome just for the safety of our Alaska villages. Although if you've ever watched how we're getting these vaccines out to our native villages by dog sleds, by snow machines, it's amazing. But we're going to stop at Iditarod right here and just do a big loop. So it has changed from the past, but it's still happening, which is cool. And next year in 2022, it's going to be the 50th anniversary of this last great race. So if you can make it in 2022, wow, what a year. We're going to make it big. It's going to be grand, and probably have more mushers than ever before. And how can you get around? I say ride the Alaska Railroad. It is a winter wonderland on that. So it's called the Aurora Train for a reason. And so it's not as, the schedule is adapted from the summer. In the summer it runs every day. In the wintertime it doesn't. So you have to kind of, it's a little trickier to put in your itinerary, but it's a must do. So Alaska Railroad is a very iconic transportation for us here. And if you know any history of Anchorage, this is why we got started back in 1914 when they came to build the railroad and find that gold. So with that, it's just a great way. And I'm going to end with this little diddly. I don't know if you can hear it. I always say we live a big wildlife here in Anchorage, and so should you. So come during our snow adventure season and absolutely enjoy the authentic Alaska that we have to offer. So with that, I'll send it back to you, Maurice.
All right, Tia, thank you so much. and thank you for picking on me throughout the presentation. I appreciate it.
Now they know we didn't plan it, right? So
That's right. So I have to ask you a question, and then we have a couple of questions that we have on the board here. Which one was your favorite adventure that you did? Did you do the railroad, or which one?
my favorite adventure.
Or were you the or were you the one that got thrown up in the air, or what happened?
I try to do all these adventures, Marie. So you've learned that about me. Like the only thing I don't think I will do is bungee jump. I think that's the only thing. For some reason, that's too much for me. But other than that, I will do all the other crazy stuff. I think I'm just always I have a passion for our glaciers here and how they change in the ice caves. So I think anytime I can go climb on one and explore one is one of my favorites. But then also getting out on our trails, like I have a fat tire bike, and if I can ride up to another glacier, like there's certain glaciers you can only ride to at certain times. So trying to pick the right time to like go to Knik Glacier or go to Portage Glacier or that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't, it's that it's hard to say, and then if I was able, one thing I didn't mention is that we do flight seeing here year round too. And a winter flight seeing trip from the air to see, Alaska and look for the wildlife and the glaciers from air is also amazing. We have the busiest seaplane airport in the world here in Anchorage, just because we don't have many roads. So the only way to get there is by float plane. And what a great way to see Alaska is up in the air.
Okay, all right.
And you can land on a glacier too, with a helicopter. That's pretty cool.
All right. Okay.
Would you do that, Maurice? Would you do that?
I would not. I would not. That's not my style.
More on the mild side than the wild.
Without a doubt, you know me very well. I have a question from Lisa, and are all the activities open now at full capacity, and are the restaurants open at full capacity now?
We haven't gotten to full capacity. Our numbers are really low, and so right now, at least for the municipality of Anchorage, there's other regions that have opened up to full capacity, but for the municipality of Anchorage, we're still at 50%, which seems to work because we're not super, crazy busy right now. And it's just to keep us safe, to make sure we get all those vaccines out, and we're slowly going to start opening more and more. So just like I mentioned, the PCR test that just got lifted in February is huge, so I think we've been on a very cautious, safe side, and we want to get open. And I know without the cruise season once again, that has been canceled for Alaska due to our friends in Canada. We're getting creative, so even, I know we talked winter, but if you can come here this summer, it's going to be far less crowded and such cool opportunities that might not ever be offered again. So.
Okay. So with that being said, how much time should one plan to come to Alaska? Obviously, there's a ton to offer.
Minimum 7, like I always say, minimum 7 days, right? And it just depends on how far you want to explore, because even just within 7 days in Anchorage, if you use that as a base camp and you do all these great, day trips, easy. But if you want to start, driving, it does take a while to get to some of these other great towns and cities that we have here. So then you're going to start adding extra days to your time. So I think Rob and Lisa, they came in the summertime and they spent, was it almost 3 weeks here, but then they hit almost all the regions of Alaska. So if you really want to hit those regions and feel like you've really seen the state, you got to give yourself some time to do that, because you want to experience each place you get to and not just keep moving. So I think the sweet spot's 2 weeks, because but I know not everyone has 2 weeks to spend, so.
Very true. Hey, actually, we have a message from Mac here. He said, last reporting that I heard, Alaska is doing the best regarding the number of people that have been vaccinated. I remember you talking about that earlier. Do you want to touch on that for those that are just joining us, or join us a little bit later?
Sure, absolutely. Alaska is leading the way in vaccines. So we have just done an amazing job of making sure we had our different tiers and getting the word out, and how our medical staff here we've opened up one of our sporting centers, and that is a main vaccination place to go to get them. And we just opened up more. So I'm excited to say that I'm getting mine finally on Monday. So, as they kept getting, to the younger generations, we can now get vaccinated. And not only are we the top state, we're the number 5, like out of the world of vaccinations. So we're doing a really fantastic job up here. And like I was mentioning earlier too, just if you can follow how we're getting vaccinations to our elderly, especially in the native villages, because that was a huge concern for us. I mean, we had doctors going by dog sleds for miles just to get into some areas, or a snow machine. But we did it, and they're out there, and we're keeping our Alaska natives safe.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And we appreciate you guys doing that. That way everybody can get there, right?
We are still
Come out there
open.
and travel. We have Rob, who wants to know, what is the current status with sightseeing and other small tours?
Sure. So my hats are off to all of our attractions, tour operators, restaurants, really making sure to stay open and how to do it in a very safe way. A lot of them have adapted their vans. So maybe say a small tour operator that used to take 12 people, now they'll only take 6, or they'll only take 2 different family bubbles, so there's lots of rules in place, but they've worked together. So if they don't have enough vans for one tour, we have another tour operators, like, you can use one of my vans, so they can keep them at those low numbers. They're wiping them down. Everyone's wearing masks. You still have to wear masks here, anytime you're on a tour indoors, or until you get seated at your table at a restaurant. And then once you're outdoors, of course you can take it off and breathe in our fresh air and really enjoy it. But they've really adapted their itineraries too. And especially, like I mentioned just briefly, for the 2021 summer season, if you want to stay within that travel bubble, or you're within your family, we have tour operators now offering, some of the best self-drives ever, whether you want to rent a car, maybe a camper van. We have some really cool camper vans, or an RV. What a great place to come see our national parks, our state parks, and just get out in the wilderness. And like I mentioned, if you don't want to see anyone, you can drive down the road and be at a place that you won't see anyone for your whole trip. But maybe that's why Alaskans are so friendly. We see new people and we're like, hey, hi, you're new here. Can we help you? What can we do for you? But you will find that here. Like, Alaskans are extremely friendly and are willing to help. And it's a beautiful place that still takes my breath away, and I can't wait for everyone to see it and experience it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And your description of it makes it sound breathtaking. And thank you for the great visuals that come along with your presentation there.
Absolutely.
I have another question here. What time of night during this time of the year can you see the northern lights, and can they be seen as soon as it gets dark, if it's a clear night?
Yeah, it really depends on that, the magnetic fields and, the solar wind, how it slants in. But once it starts getting dark, that's when you're like, all right, it's dark enough. You need a dark night, a clear night, and then that solar flare to happen. So like last night, and again, like I mentioned, we have an app for it. It'll say, hey, it's becoming high, get out in the next hour. We were seeing them right from Anchorage at 7:30 last night. Usually the sweet spot, it is a chase it's kind of a game for looking for the northern lights here. They like to come out anywhere from 7 p.m. to 2 to 3 a.m., right? So you just don't know where that is, but normally our tour guides know. They have the NOVA sites up. They can tell you exactly what the KP index looks like. They know which way, whether they're going to head south or north, or where they're going to show up. But we always do a 3-day forecast. So we're always looking 3 days out, 3 days out, 3 days out. And so we know last night was going to be high. Tonight's supposed to be even higher. So we'll probably start seeing them again tonight at 8 p.m. But it's part of the game, which is kind of exciting and exhilarating. It's like, ooh, are they out now? Oh, what time are they going to be out? Or do I have to be up at, 1 a.m. and be out there? But it's kind of the adrenaline of finding them. I have to say that Anchorage Photo Treks has a great page that talks about the Aurora, how great they are here, and he gives the 3-day forecast. So it's a really great reference for anyone that's going to be coming to Anchorage.
I have an odd question. Is there a nightlife in Alaska?
Is there a nightlife? Of course there is. You know, us Alaskans like to have fun. and it's going to look different too, right? Like in the summertime, we have all that sunlight or the playlight, like the midnight sun. So we have outdoor concerts. You know, we have all these really cool outdoor concerts that happen, and you'll forget that it's 11 o'clock at night because the sun's still up, right? In the winter time, we'll get a little more creative where we'll have like bonfires, and you know, some places around town will move outside and offer these really cool winter experiences. But then we also have a couple clubs. We, you know, of course, it's been a little slower this last year, but we're expecting that to open up. We have some great bars, restaurants, anywhere. Like I say, if you want a great dive bar, we have that, or we have a really cool dance club. So depending on what you're looking for, and or just sitting outside on a beautiful deck. We have these restaurants that have these beautiful outdoor decks. And again, sitting under the midnight sun at 11 o'clock at night, having a cocktail, you know, how fun is that? You know, we do have 2 distilleries here too. So we do make some of our own vodkas and gins. And I always say, if you like a Bloody Mary, that you have to try our smoked salmon vodka in a Bloody Mary. That is going to be a game changer right there.
Yeah.
Don't take a shot of it, though. Don't take a shot of it. Just make sure it's in a Bloody Mary. It's definitely not.
Fair warning. No, that's fair. Yeah, when I think of Alaska, nightlife just doesn't come with me. But you know, like you said, nightlife is everywhere. But I get it.
Your nightlife could be out in a tent and you're hanging out with the moose. That could be someone else's nightlife, you know.
That's right.
Nightlife you're looking for.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, do we have any more questions here for Tia? If not, I want to, let me see here. I will let you say again, thank you for supplying us with this information and speaking to all of our visitors and people interested in Alaska and giving more of an inside tour as to what's going on. So we really do appreciate you taking the time. It's always amazing to hear from you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys inviting me, and for everyone that wants to learn a little bit more about how Alaska is a great destination year-round, make sure to see the team at Travel and Relax. They are really a great team there, and if they have any questions, they can reach out to me, and we'll make sure you have that exact trip you want. So I always say, make a wish list. What do you want to see and do on your Alaska trip? And between us, we'll make sure that happens.
That's right. And Rob, let me go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. And Tia, thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation as always, and we appreciate your time and presenting to us this evening. So I do want to thank you for presenting tonight. And for those who have joined us, our next tour will be on April the 7th, when we will present to you a unique tour, which will be a virtual cruise night with the Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. Registration is currently on our events page at travelandrelax.com. And we also invite you to check out our event page archives on our website. We can find replays of the past tour destinations that we have presented, and this tour will also be posted up there probably tomorrow. Should you have any follow-up questions on Alaska or have other travel-related questions we can assist you with, or if we can service your travel needs in any way after tonight, please do let us know and we'd be happy to assist you. And we do appreciate you all for joining us tonight, and thank you again for attending. Have a great evening. Thanks.
Bye from Anchorage. Presentation, I think it's pretty slick. That winter one that Tia put together is really good.